Hey guys, this is Tauna, and today we've got the Science deck. As you guys know, this is going to be our last pre-con reveal for Fallout. We're going to do, a couple different videos. First, we're going to do upgrades for them. Secondly, we're going to do which one's going to be best for you guys to buy, which one's the most valuable, which one, is potentially a skip. We'll see, because there's a few different things. It's very different to the other precons we've had. There's not all that many great kind of reprints and stuff. In fact, this one I think is even worse in regards to reprints than the other ones, which isn't great. So the Science deck is based around basically two different things, with a minor theme of the third one. The major theme is going to be energy, and artifacts is going to be the secondary theme. Both of them go very, very, in hand, basically. There's a minor theme in here of card draw and stuff, but, that's more tied to just basically, just the kind of blue cards that you kind of have in here. So the maiden phase commander is going to be Dr. Madison Lee, who's going to give you an energy each time you cast an artifact spell. You're going to tap and pay an energy to give +1 and trample and haste to a target creature. You can tap and pay 3 energy to draw a card, or you can tap and pay 5 energy to return a target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield tap. So there's a lot of kind of there's a few different cards that bring stuff back from the graveyard too, which is nice as well. I've kind of highlighted the different things that I thought were interesting in here. So I've got the Brotherhood Scribe in here, which you can just tap to get an energy. So there's a lot of different cards in here that are going to generate energy, and then you've got ways to be able to, spend the energy, or ways to be able to kind of, buff yourself up. Like the Brotherhood Scribe here, whenever you gain 1 or more energy, your creatures get +1/+1 until end of turn. So, there's lots of different ways you can do that there. This actually has Metalcraft as well, so the return of Metalcraft. You've got some other weird stuff in here, like this Red Death's Shipwrecker, which just goads something and lets that person draw a card and gets 1 red. So more artifact kind of stuff in here. This is weird because it gives it to artifact creatures, but there's a few artifact creatures in here, but there's also a lot of not artifact creatures in here. We've got the investigate, a few things that investigate, or give investigate to stuff. And then we've got like Rex the Cyberhound in here. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, they mill 2 cards, and then you draw. Then you get 2 energy counters, and then you can pay 2 energies to choose a target creature in a graveyard, exile it with a brain counter on it, and then Rex will have all the activated abilities of all cards in the graveyard, in the exile, with brain counters on them. So you basically get to this is going to be really good against my friends, like artifact Trazen kind of deck. So I can mill his cards, exile his creatures, and then use them to buff up my Rex. We've got the Synth Eradicator here. Whenever it attacks, exile the top card of your library. You can either get 2 energy, or you can cast it before the end of that turn, and then you can pay 3 energy to make it deal 3 damage to any target. Arcade Ganon, tap to draw a card and discard a card and put a quest counter on it. And then once during each of your turns, you may cast an artifact or human from your graveyard with mana value less than or equal to the number of quest counters on him. We've got Robo Brain Warmind here. It's power is equal to the number of cards in your hand. When it enters battlefield, you get a number of energy equal to the number of artifact creatures you control, and then when it attacks, you can pay 3 energy to draw a card. And then finally, Liberty Prime, which is the secondary face commander, secondary commander you can potentially use, has vigilance, trample, and haste. When it attacks or blocks, you have to sacrifice it unless you pay 2 energy, and you can also pay 2 and tap to sacrifice an artifact to get 2 energy and draw a card. So you don't necessarily need to attack with it every single turn. Sometimes it's going to be better for you to pay 2, sack an artifact to get the 2 energy. As for spells, nothing kind of too much to kind of write home about, in my opinion. We've got a few kind of reprints in here. We've got Electro Siphon is the one that I saw here. You counter a spell and then you get a number of energy equal to its mana value. That's really nice, a way to be able to get a lot of energy. We've got the artifacts here. We've got automated assembly line, which is pretty nice. Whenever an artifact creature you control deals combat damage, get a energy, and then you pay 3 to create a tapped 3/3 colorless robot artifact. And then expert level save is very cool too. When it enters the battlefield, exile the top 2 cards of your library face down. You can pay 1 and tap it to make you and target opponent each secretly choose a number between 1 and 3. Then those choices are revealed. If they match, then you sacrifice it and you get the cards that you exile back into your hand. Otherwise, you get to exile the top card of your library face down. So it's a way to be able to draw and be able to, like, you know, store it up for a big windfall potentially. The issue with it is similar to the bag of holding from I believe it was CLB or AFR. If someone removes it, then you don't get those cards back. They're just gone forever. We've got the Plasma Caster in here, gives +1, +1/+1, and then whenever the equipped creature attacks, you get 2 energy, and then you can pay 2 energy to choose target a creature that's a blocking equipped creature. You can flip a coin. If you win the flip, then you get to exile that creature. Otherwise, you deal 1 damage to it, which this is just rather nice, I think, as an equipment. We've got Brotherhood Vertibird here. Its damage is its power is equal to the number of artifacts you control, and it's got flying as well. We've got a couple vaults too, not too many kind of enchantments in here. A couple vaults to get you know more energy, pay energy, exile a target enchantment, exile a whole bunch of stuff, and then you get to return 2, which is rather nice. I think that one's going to be pretty decent potentially. I don't know. I think that. But each player exile up to 1 target enchantment or creature that player controls, and then at the end, when you do 3, then you get to return them. You get to return 2 of them. Otherwise, the rest just go to the bottom of their opponent's library. So it could potentially be like a big wipe later on. But I think that something like, I don't know, Farewell or something like that might be better. Although this is targeted. I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes in play. And then finally for the lands, you've got like Helios 1, pay 1, tap to get an energy, pay 3, tap, pay energy, sacrifice it and destroy something. And then the Treasure Vault as well isn't too bad. Pay XX to sacrifice it to create some treasures. So as for reprints in here that are worth like, you know, above $2, we've got Wake the Past, return all artifacts from the graveyard to the battlefield. They gain haste. Not too bad, but, you know, $2 reprint. We've got Lightning Greaves. You know, Lightning Greaves always going to be a useful kind of reprint in here. But again, a card that's been reprinted a lot. It's worth $5, so it's not too bad, but still, we've got the Mystic Forge in here, which is good. $2 above. Panharmonicon. That one's rather nice. You know, $6 reprint there. And then we've got the Treasure Vault down here as well for another like $6 reprint, which means 5 cards above the, you know, $2 reprint. That's awful. Like, if you compare that to the Doctor Who set, they're no way near their kind of like adding up to that. There's also, you know, there's a lot of cards from Kaladesh, I believe it was, which was based on the energy set. There's no kind of reprints from this. I think there's only like 1 reprint that is an actual like energy card that got reprinted. They're all like, you know, new things, a lot of legendary stuff, a lot of legendary artifact creatures, or artifact creatures overall. Again, we've got the 2 bobbleheads in here. You guys know how I feel about bobbleheads after the last few videos. The Nuka-Colic vending machine, this one's actually crazy in my opinion. Pay 1, sack it. Pay 1, tap it to create a food. And then whenever you sack a food, you get to create a tapped token. If you combine this with like, Academy Manufacturer, there's going to be some crazy kind of stuff you could potentially do there. Overall, I love the flavor of this deck, but I have to kind of check it out a bit more in depth, I think. I think there's a lot of kind of reprints from Kaladesh that we could potentially put in here, or not even reprints, like cards from Kaladesh or cards from, you know, any of the energy stuff. The big one about this one, and the most important thing about this one, is that energy is coming back. Like the next Modern Horizons 3 is going to have energy stuff, as well as a whole energy precom, which is also Jexai. So I think this one, like in the past, or we talked about the disguise set. In the disguise set, we talked about it, that it's unlikely it's going to be a mechanic that's going to come back or be used all that often. And I was thinking the same about this one, but now we've literally got like a whole bunch coming in the next set, which will make this like potentially a pretty crazy and pretty cool deck that you can potentially work on a lot more. The energy overall is just a very interesting mechanic, but we'll have to see. Like, you know, there's also a whole bunch of stuff in here that I'm like, why is this in here? Or, you know, like there's a bunch of investigate stuff in here. I'm like, I think there's stuff that we could potentially use better in here to kind of further our stuff, like a foundry inspector or something like that would be nice in here too, to make it so our artifacts are cheaper. Who knows? We'll have to talk about that in our upgrade video. Let me know which one of the decks you want to see the upgrade video for first as well. I hope you guys had a wonderful day and goodbye.